Evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing tonight? Thank you. Yes. What a wonderful celebration we have tonight, and we've got people here from who hasn't been here the long. Oh, sorry. I gotta check this real quick. Hello. Yeah. No. I got this thing I'm doing right now. No, you're not. No problem. You can make it. Yeah. No, it's milk, eggs. Got it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll see you later. Great. Yeah. Everyone say hi, okay? Great. You just said hi to my intern Cassidy, everyone. Good job. But that reminds me, why don't we go ahead and take a moment and make sure our cell phones and pagers and blenders and electric razors and anything that makes noise is off. You know, you can honor these people in silence and the gratitude that we are here to show them this evening. You know, it's a really great thing for us to be able to come together, as frequent or as infrequent as it is, but to celebrate everybody and the different walks of life, the different fabric, the different weavings that we have made for Batavia. If you think about it, everybody who leaves, everyone who goes off, that's gone through this school, is part of this master weaving. And if we were to span this out and take a look at it, the textures, the depth in there of all the great things that people do out in the world, it would be remarkable. And it's great to get together for a moment and to learn about people. To learn about people you didn't even know were here. This is a great moment. I want everyone to just enjoy, savor this evening while we get to know what our colleagues, our friends, our classmates of different ages have done in this world, are doing in this world, and applaud them. It's a great, great thing. This is the second annual Batavia Public Schools Hall of Honor. On behalf of the Batavia Public Schools, we are happy that you have joined us tonight. Last year, there was the celebration of 30 years of the Batavia Foundation for Educational Excellence, and the many contributions that organization has brought to BPS101. Tonight, we continue to celebrate by honoring the distinguished alumni of Batavia Public Schools. That dedicated staff and the incredibly talented and generous volunteers. We are so glad you're here to celebrate with us. We're very thankful to the local restaurants who have so graciously and generously donated the delicious food. 47 Ronin, formerly The Range, Aliano's, Chick-fil-A, Enticing Cuisine, Gaetano's, River's Edge, and Sam's Club. The Hall of Honor Committee has been led by the Batavia Foundation for Educational Excellence directors Nan Phillips and Joanne Spitz. Please welcome to the stage at this moment, Nan Phillips.
Thank you all for coming tonight. This night has become very important to those of us on the committee, and we're glad that you were all able to come and share it with us. More than 3 years ago, as the foundation looked for a way to commemorate the 30-year anniversary, as Dominic said, the goal of establishing a Hall of Honor committee was realized, and we've moved forward with that, and we're glad to be back for the second year. Our committee of 14 people representing BPS, the Batavia Public Schools School Board, District 101 Administration, Batavia Education Association. We have representation from the 4 parent support groups, Bulldog Boosters, Music Buffs, Stage and Studio, as well as 5 at-large committee members from the that help us have worked to achieve the launch of this Hall of Honor. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Joanne directly, who she's helping direct from up there in the booth tonight. Thank you for being my partner, for being inspiring, for being creative, and for being our friend. Just thank you for everything. As well as Joanne, the rest of the Hall of Honor Committee deserves our thanks. These people are listed in your program tonight, and so I hope you take a look at all of these fine people that have been working to help us with this event. I would also like to point out that we have people here who have served on the committee during these past 3 years, and as we move forward, we'll be looking for new members. But everyone who has been a part of the Hall of Honor Committee, past and present, if you're in the audience, please stand so we can acknowledge your contributions to tonight's event. Thank you. The Hall of Honor Committee would also like to acknowledge Dominic Patero for serving as our MC tonight and his expertise in helping to direct this evening's program. Thank you, Dominic. So 1 year ago tonight, when the BPS Hall of Honor became real to the community, and we are so happy to be here tonight to continue bringing to the public the distinguished Batavia High School alumni, as well as the exemplary staff and volunteers who give so much to help the Batavia Public Schools accomplish all the wonderful things that happen here in Batavia. Through these accomplishments, these people we honor tonight, we recognize and honor alumni, staff members, and community members who have demonstrated excellence in their field and their commitment of service to Batavia, to our community, and to our country. Our work for the 2017 Hall of Honor begins tonight, or maybe we'll wait till Monday. We will have some committee members that will be rotating off of it after their term of service. So if you are at all interested in helping keep this program alive, let us know, because we'd love to work with you too. And we also count on you to submit the nominations for consideration in the future. And now we're going to greet our honorees, escorted by their nominators. As our honorees approach the stage, we ask that you hold your applause until after they reach the podium. And our first nominee is
Ellen Skirmont Diffenbaugh. In the 1940s, Ellen was part of a team of laboratory technicians that worked for the University of Chicago on the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was a research and development project led by the United States that produced the first nuclear weapons during World War II. During those years, she was sent to set up the lab as the chief medical technologist at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and Los Alamos, New Mexico, where the atomic bomb was constructed. The lab was responsible for keeping track of the effects of radiation on the science. After leaving the project, she spent 15 years as chief of the medical and technical department at Argonne National Laboratory. She also worked part-time at Skokie Valley Community Hospital and was a volunteer at Rush Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center. She was born and raised in Batavia. Her first language, Lithuanian, and she did not learn English until she started school. After graduating from Batavia High School, she received her undergraduate degree at Valparaiso University in 1938, and she completed her medical technical training in St. Louis.
Rudy Dubis. Since the day Rudy Dubis graduated high school, he has been a full-time Bulldog. Dubis began his service in 1970 when he was a senior in high school, and he was asked to announce at a basketball game. He has continued to announce basketball games and also became the announcer for BHS football games. His now famous phrase, "home of the Battlin' Bulldogs," is loudly and proudly stated with vigor when welcoming everyone to games. The Illinois Basketball Coaches Association inducted Dubis into the Hall of Fame in 1998 as a friend of basketball, illustrating his statewide recognition. In addition, Dubis has actively participated in the Batavia Access Toy Committee for 16 years and was the official Santa for the city of Batavia for 10 years. He continues to play Santa on Christmas Eve, delivering toys to many houses in Batavia, and has done so for 40 years.
I'm going to try to get through this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Batavia, the home of the Battlin' Bulldogs. It's hard to believe that I've been saying that phrase for 47 years. I'd like to thank the Batavia Hall of Honor for this incredible honor. I'd also like to thank all of the people that nominated me: Dean Anderson, Roy and Jeannie Bailey, Brittany Cole, Dottie Fletcher, Bob Hansen, Coach Jim Roberts, Coach Joe Yeagle, and last but not least, my wife Marilyn. She's always been there to support me and to help me with everything. I moved to Batavia the summer after I graduated from 8th grade, and I was supposed to go to Marmion. But during the summer, I met a bunch of kids from Batavia, and they told me, "Nah, you don't want to go to Marmion. You should go to Batavia." Well, I took their advice and became a Bulldog, and I've never had any regrets. I'd also like to thank Bob Tober for asking me to announce football and basketball games, and all the athletic directors, all 7 of them, for keeping me on. I've had the pleasure of announcing for an Elite 8 team in basketball and a state champion team in 2013 in football, and I have the ring to prove it. This has been an incredible journey. The only regrets that I have is that my mom and dad weren't around to witness this, because I know both of them would have gotten a big kick out of it. Once again, I thank you for this great honor, and let's keep this going for many, many, many years. Thank you very much. There's one other group that I want to thank. And some of the people that go to football games and basketball games will understand this. A lot of other people won't. I'd like to thank the Miller brothers. Thank you.
Lori Anderson Gregorski. Lori Anderson Gregorski graduated from Eastern Illinois University and began her career in media sales for Shaw Newspapers. In 2004, Gregorski had an opportunity with Cox Ohio Publishing and moved to Dayton, Ohio. There she served on the board of directors for the Ronald McDonald House and Kaufman YMCA. During the economic downturn, she began running and became actively involved with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Societies. During this time, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. While MS slowed her down, she continued to work to raise awareness of MS and raise money for both the National Multiple Sclerosis Society and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. In 2015, she was honored with the Joel Kahn Award of Courage by the Ohio Valley chapter of the National MS Society. This award is given to a person living with MS who works tirelessly to change the world for others affected by MS. Gregorski and her husband Tony have 2 children, Shelby and AJ. They live in Springboro, Ohio.
Sorry, I have to get my technology up. Thank you so much for this honor. It was great to be recognized on so many great Batavians, and I especially want to point out Mr. Von Hoff, as I had so many great fond memories of him playing tennis, driving the school bus, and I have to apologize again for crashing our pacer into his tree. Honestly, I'm not sure if I would have been recognized if it wasn't for social media today. You see, this gave me a platform to connect with friends and family and share my story. I had a great childhood growing up in Batavia. I was only an average student, but I was involved in many activities at school and church. My friends and I loved to roam the halls of Batavia High, and every once in a while we were a little mischievous and spent a little time in the hole. But that at least gave my dad something to talk about with his friends at the McDonald's Coffee Club. In 2004, my husband and I moved to Southwest Ohio, and we live in Springboro. The city of Springboro is very similar to Batavia. It's a great Midwestern town with Midwestern values. Just north is Dayton, which in my mind is similar to Aurora or Elgin, and about an hour south is Cincinnati, a smaller version of Chicago with similar professional sports teams and bad records. Except this year, go Cubs. Living in Ohio, I decided to take on a challenge I honestly was never interested in, and I decided to run a half marathon. So I signed up with Team in Training in the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Fundraising for me wasn't a challenge, but sticking to a rigorous training schedule was. You see, this former pom-pom girl and swing singer was never much of an athlete. Boy, I bet Mrs. Ramus and Mr. Betcher would have really been surprised to see me today. I completed that race on my 42nd birthday, and I realized I loved the sport. I continued with Team in Training for 10 seasons as a participant, captain, and coach, and I just loved being able to share all the memories on Facebook, and my friends and family were surprised by the athlete I had become. During that time, I was diagnosed with MS, and I was very shocked and wondered what my life would be like moving forward. I shared a lot on social media during that time. I really don't air my dirty laundry on Facebook, though I occasionally would like to post a pretty picture of food or tag my friends on an evening going out. But otherwise, it really was a time for me to just have an outlet, sort of a journal with the benefit of people responding and wishing me good thoughts and encouraging words and telling me that everything would be okay. My Team in Training family in Ohio, they encouraged me when I wanted to start running again. They knew I could do it, and that this challenge and setback would not stop me. I continued with Team in Training and completed 2 more marathons, but my 4th marathon, I knew I needed to benefit the National MS Society. So in 2014, I signed up for the New York Marathon. And during my training, I posted progress and received many praise and prayers and a lot of contributions towards my fundraising. Going to New York was an experience for sure. It was my first visit to the Big Apple, and what a way to see it. I started in Staten Island and ran through the 5 boroughs, crossing the finish line 5.5 hours later. Soon after that race, I received a call from the National MS Society letting me know that they wanted to honor me with the Silver Hope Award at the Dinner of Champions. I had the privilege of standing beside Reds Hall of Fame announcer Marty Brenneman at that evening, and we had a chance to talk after dinner. My husband and I went up and talked with him, and what did we ask him? Well, since his son Tom used to work for the Cubs, we of course asked him, what was Harry Carey like? He chuckles and he said he was a great guy and really took his son under his wing. My husband was very proud. Later that evening, I went and talked with his family again, and they asked where I grew up, and I proudly said Batavia, Illinois. I told them my claim to fame was that Kenny Anderson was also from Batavia, Illinois, and his dad was my grade school janitor. They laughed, and Marty's wife told me that they had just been on a cruise with Kenny. And I said, gosh, you've got to introduce him. I want to be introduced to him. I lived in Ohio for 14 years, and I've never had a chance to meet him. Soon after that, I began my career with the National MS Society, and I was driving around visiting different radio stations, and on my way to one, I was listening to that station, and lo and behold, on the air was Kenny Anderson. And so I went there, and I got there, and, I said I had heard him on the radio, and they said he was still there. I said, no way, I want to meet him. So I went into the room where he was sitting, and he got up and, pleasantly shook my hand. And the first words out of my mouth was, boy, you look like your dad. And he had just this puzzled look and said, why are you saying that? I said, I'm from Batavia, Illinois, too. So we laughed, and we giggled, and we hugged, and we shared stories of good old Batavia. Fast forward to the day. I still share a lot on Facebook because it gives me an outlet to talk about what I've been going through and really give a voice to multiple sclerosis. Many people don't really understand or recognize what living with multiple sclerosis is like. It's different symptoms for many different people, but it's painful nonetheless for all of us. You don't really know what you go through until you're impacted with a disease like this. And having the outlet and opportunity to share just really creates awareness for people and educates them more. So while I'm glad I didn't grow up in the technology my children are growing up in today, I'm really appreciative for what it provides. It provides information, communication, and connections. So thank you so much for this honor.
Richard W. Hansen. Richard attended Batavia schools from kindergarten through high school. He graduated from Purdue University and after graduation served in the U.S. Navy from 1961 to 1964. After leaving the Navy, Hansen and his family spent a year in Germany working for an international electrical controls company. Hansen returned to Batavia in 1966, began his career at Furnace Electric Company, which at the time was a $10 million manufacturing company of special electrical motor control equipment. In 1972, he became president, and in 1977, he became chairman and CEO, and served in that position until the company was purchased by Siemens Energy. Hansen was also a founding member of the Batavia Foundation for Educational Excellence.
Well, to the committee, I thank you. This is really quite an honor, and I want to thank Bob Peterson and Carla Hill for nominating me and for the committee supporting that nomination. However, I think if they knew what my grade point average was in high school, they might have reconsidered that. Batavia was a great place to grow up in the late 40s. In the 50s, and I think the friends of mine out here who I've seen tonight who were of the same era as I would agree to that. We came, as they said down here, when the company came in 1940, I was 3 years old, and I've been an enthusiastic Batavia supporter ever since, growing up on the west side of Batavia. However, it was a long time before the Swedish ethnic group on the west side of Batavia learned to spell Hansen with an E instead of an O. And as we matured in the school system, we then went and met the East Siders, and there was always a faction, East Side, West Side, and you didn't really get to know them until you were in, I think, the 8th grade or maybe freshman, that you came together and you got to make a lot of new friends. Our graduating class, the class of 55, was pretty small, only 67 students graduated, and quite frankly, you became very close, and we still are. A lot of classes have reunions every 5 or 10 years. Our class has such a good time, we have a reunion every year. And to get together for dinner every once in a while. I was really pleased and honored to be able to come back here and eventually head up the Furnace Electric Company. Was one of, even though it's not here anymore, was one of Batavia's larger employers. And I was able to see it grow from being a small sort of specialized company in motor control to being nationally and internationally recognized for its technological innovations, and still is to this day. And I have to tell you, we had the greatest team of people that worked there that I'll ever have been able to meet. And when I run across them from time to time, I'm really pleased and honored that they say, you know, for the 10 years or 20 years, whenever I worked at Furnace and was a team member there, it was some of the happiest years of my life, and I have to say it was for mine as well. So again, I thank you so much for this tremendous honor, and I would wonder if my teachers in the high school at that time, if they knew of this now, would really believe it. Thank you.
Dennis Piron. During his years as a student at Batavia High School, Dennis Piron participated in football, track, basketball, and baseball. After high school, he attended North Central College and participated in football and track all 4 years. At North Central, he was a 4-year letter winner in football and a 2-time All-American and 6-time national qualifier in track and field. He graduated in 1987 with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing. From 1990 to 1999, he owned and operated the West Bank Health and Fitness Center in downtown Batavia. During this time, he was also coaching football and girls and boys track at Batavia High School. His teaching career began in the math department at Batavia High School, and nearly 2 decades later, he is still part of this successful department. Piron is currently Batavia High School's head football and boys track coach. Under his leadership, the Bulldogs varsity football team has qualified for the IHSA state playoffs 4 years in a row, won the IHSA Class 6A title in 2013, and has yet to lose a conference game. He and his wife Joanne live in Batavia with their 3 children. Peyton attends North Central College, Alexandra, and Tyler.
On behalf of my family, my wife Joanne, my children Peyton, Alex, and Tyler, I want to thank the committee and my nominators, Lorraine Coffey, thank you very much, and Joanne Mays for this honor, the committee, and everyone around Batavia. Really, when I see some of the things, I'm a little embarrassed, to be honest, to be up here. I'm so proud of what I do and the kids that I'm involved with, and just so lucky to be part of such great, not just teams of kids and programs and departments and staffs and events and celebrations in my time at BHS, but the ability to represent all those people that I love that are so close to me in my life. It's kind of interesting how I ended up here, and the first person I really want to thank is Coach Gasperi in terms of getting into this career to be a coach and a teacher. He tricked me one time to come in and coach a summer camp in the middle of a job I'd gotten right out of college at North Central College in Chicago, and he knew what would happen. I kind of fell in love with it, and I actually quit my job to coach high school football. I don't know, that was a very good decision. My brothers didn't think I was very smart. But Mike's how I got here to begin with, and he taught me to really believe in young people. In fact, I believe in you is something we still say to our kids on a regular basis. Coach Gasperi was obviously a high school coach of mine that was very important to me here at Batavia, as was Coach D. Domenico, our track coach. And Coach D gave me a ton of confidence. I kind of found myself in that sport as a young man and taught me a great work ethic. Coach D always taught me to set a high standard for myself, and I've carried it on to my athletes. It's amazing that both those men ended up not only coached me, I've coached with them and for them on their coaching staffs, and eventually they coached for me as I became head coach here. And recently they got to coach my oldest son, and it was a really kind of a unique experience if you can think of the transition of all that. And Coach got me to really love the great sport of track and field, and Coach D, I thank you for that. My father, Dennis Piron, who a lot of kids think Piron Field was named after me. It wasn't. I make up stories as to why it was and tell them, but it's my dad, so I'm actually junior. I don't know how I ended up dropping that, but he was a really hard worker, kind of hyper, high energy. I don't know, more like me, I guess. Had a great work ethic. There was no being lazy around that man, but boy, he loved sports. He loved sports, and in those days, I think a lot of dads said, well, you got a choice. You do sports or you go to work. Well, that was not a hard decision. So you played sports. That's what you did. Herb Cussel, many of you may know him. He was my first boss here at Batavia High School. Taught me to love math in high school here at Batavia. Was a good mentor to me as a teacher, and eventually helped me get hired here to teach when I career transitioned from my job as a local business owner. Very, very lucky to have gotten to know him. He really taught me to care and to love kids and really see the best in them and again, believe in them. When I left Batavia, I went to North Central College, and I was influenced by wonderful coaches over there in their track and field and football programs. Al Carius and Frank Graham-Magrosso, Paul Connor in football, and a legion of coaches that have come out of there throughout Chicagoland, the coaches and teachers that have come from North Central College and those people. It's amazing. If you go to an event and talk to somebody, there'll be somebody on every coaching staff. I went to North Central, and some of my great friends that I developed, they're lifelong friends that are here tonight, Gary and Rudy and Kurt, and we great appreciate you coming. Personal pride, when you're a bulldog, you're always a bulldog, and kind of as Rudy said, when you have this job, you really feel, I don't know if the pressure's the right word, but that you owe something to all these people here in Batavia, the kids you grew up with, your friends, their family, their children, and you don't really ever want to let anybody down. I think that's kind of always been my driving force, and being a Batavian and taking that pride. Of course, getting to do what you love as a career is always unusual. When I talk to a lot of my other friends in fields and the great successes that I have, I'm often found how jealous they are of myself and many of my friends that coach. Really unique. I've gotten to work for and with some of the finest men and women coaches and educators in Illinois history here at Batavia. We're so lucky, the talent that we attract. Matt Holm and Coach White, and our athletic director Dave Andrews recently, and our principal Joanne Smith, our superintendent Lisa Hitchens. I'm so grateful to them for all the trust that they've put in me. Coach Bailey and Coach Cole, Coach Whitwell, Chad and Kate Hillman, our Coach Meeks, who's again a common theme. I'm getting to coach with athletes of mine like Coach Therio and Coach Meeks, PJ, and Bill Kettering, Larry Gay, Pete. A number of the new coaches that have joined our staff. I am so proud. We have such fine young men and women, teachers and coaches here at this school. The most important factor for me in being able to be successful in what I do is to be supported by those that love me and that I love. My wife's family, Carol and Diane, coming to all the games and the events. My brother, Steve and Tad, they just can't chase officials out of the stadiums anymore. I've got to avoid that. My cousins, my extended family, my mother, who's always watching us on BATV and supports us, my children, who are absolutely amazing and kind and caring and supportive and so good to their dad. And most importantly, my wife, who is single most incredibly supportive coach's wife in the history of coaches' wives, for the amount of time that I spend at these things, which seems ludicrous. And she helps me run my camps, and my entire family really has supported me through all these hours, and I can't thank my wife enough for what she's done. To my current formers and former athletes, and a number of the guys are sitting there in the back, I just want to tell you how truly lucky I am, and what an honor and a privilege it's been to taught and mentor and coach so many outstanding groups of young people in really the greatest community in America, in Bulldog country here in Batavia. I love you all. I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of your lives, and really can't wait, boys, to see what you do next. So with all the Bulldog pride that I have, I want to thank you for this really incredible honor. Thank you.
George von Hoff. George started his academic career at Louise White Elementary School in Batavia. During his years at Batavia High School, he was on track, basketball, and football teams and was known as the Flying Dutchman. Upon high school graduation in 1940, von Hoff joined the U.S. Navy, where in May of 1942 he survived the sinking of the USS Lexington during the Battle of the Coral Sea. He retired as a Chief Petty Officer after 20 years of service and returned to Batavia in 1960 to raise his family. He served as the Recreational Director of Parks, Superintendent of Parks, and the first Superintendent of the Batavia Park District. He was also a school bus driver, both on a daily basis and for the athletic teams. After a lifetime of supporting Batavia sports, von Hoff was named Booster of the Year in 2001 and Fan of the Year in 2003. An active member of Bethany Lutheran Church, he volunteered for Meals on Wheels, Hesed House, ushered, and was a Sunday school teacher for 55 years. The Loyalty Day Parade and Bethany Float, which he worked on, encompassed von Hoff's love for God, America, Batavia, and children. Von Hoff and his wife, Anne, raised 4 Batavia High School graduates: Bruce, Byron, Bert, and Barry.
Well, I'm George's number 2 son, Byron, and with me is Barry. Unfortunately, Bruce can't be with us, and Bert's down in Florida. But I am a Batavia High School Bulldog graduate of 1966, and we are celebrating our 50th reunion this weekend, so double celebration for me. Go Bulldogs! But on behalf of the Von Hoff family, and about half of the audience out there is out there, we proudly accept this honor. We would definitely like to give a special thanks to Greg Hodge for nominating George, and the Batavia Foundation of Educational Excellence, Nan Phillips, who did all this great work, along with the Hall of Honor Committee, for the award of this fantastic event this evening. My dad would be humbled and honored by this great award. George was a simple man, and I use that term in the highest regards. From a small town whose life was centered on God and church, family and friends, but especially the youth of Batavia. I think my dad would be the first to tell you that it was the youth of Batavia and Batavia sports that both impacted and inspired him, gave him a purpose, and kept him young at heart, especially after the love of his life, Anne, passed away. George, of course, was thrilled when an outstanding athlete or a team had success. Every time he heard the Batavia Loyalty song, he had goosebumps. And talk about an excited man. Whenever Batavia beat Geneva, he was just beside himself. Where Dad really connected was mentoring and encouraging youth who were the least or lost or last in this community. Their success had a special place in his life and heart. George was just there for everyone. Since hearing of this award, people have told me how much George deserves this. That he inspired them and was like a second father to them while growing up in Batavia. Our family is rich and blessed when we hear what they say. What a legacy to follow. Now, anyone that knew George will tell you he was a little bit competitive. Probably the most competitive person I've ever met. Ping pong, tennis, basketball, and the grandkids that are here will attest he had 2 reflex games that he played with them. and one was a hand slap. Their hands would end up being red after that, and another one was a dollar drop. They'd drop a dollar and see if they could catch it. Never could do it. But I know Dad would tell me to make sure that we include how his life changed when the USS Lexington was sunk in the Battle of Coral Sea in World War II, excuse me. He had to jump off that sinking ship. It was then that he turned to God and knew that God had a new purpose in his life to work with and mentor kids. Eventually, this would lead George back to his beloved hometown of Batavia, where he raised his 4 sons with his wife, Ann. Through the Park District, the school district, Bethany Lutheran Church, and countless other activities, George would fulfill this purpose of helping kids. And I gotta say, I've seen amazing things my father did, but the most amazing thing I think I've ever seen was everywhere we went. We'd go to the quarry, we'd go to sporting events, go watch him play tennis against high school kids, and yeah, he beat them. And he knew all their names, and he was just known as George. It was just a special treat just being around him. But we'd like to thank the committee for including Dad into this great Hall of Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. See, aren't we learning about people we didn't even know we didn't know? Lori, we were both swing singers. We both had Mr. Betcher. I know the west side is the better side to live on. Where are you, Mr. Hansen? It's true. I grew up on the west side. And, of course, I didn't know that I didn't know, but now, from now on, I'm going to call Dennis Jr. Where are you, Dennis? I'm sorry, Junior? Junior, where are you? It just has a good tone, doesn't it? Especially coming from me, right? Hey, something you didn't know. It's Rudy's birthday today. Did you know that? For his birthday, I have a special story just for you, all right? When he walked off stage, I said I had a story for him. And this is something he didn't know about me, all right? So when I was in high school back in the 90s, Paige McLeod used to announce some of the football games. And when he couldn't, guess who did it? I did. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a football expert. I'm not. Not at all. I know very little about football still, but Dan McNeve, who was the assistant principal at the time, would stand next to me, and he would tell me what to say, and I'd just put on some cartoon voice or announcer voice, and I'd say it! Except my voice is much more nasally and high-pitched than yours, so good job, all right? I think that's the right choice, better than me. But hey, if you're ever sick, I'm still willing to stand by. I just need someone to stand by and whisper things in my ear, and I'll repeat them. Okay? 30 years of volunteer commitment to foster innovation in education, expand student opportunities, and facilitate community and school partnerships. This is what the Batavia Foundation of Educational Excellence is. It's what they hoped to achieve at its inception 31 years ago. And it still is true today. This only happens because of the dedication of those who served on the board. If you have been a part of the Batavia Foundation of Educational Excellence Board, please stand so we know and can acknowledge your service. Board members, please stand. Exemplary service doesn't end with community involvement, but continues with recognizing those friends and staff of Batavia Public Schools who have displayed a deep commitment and meritorious service while working in our schools. There are many, many, many who fit this category. And tonight, we honor this outstanding educator.
Marilyn Horbus. Since joining BPS in 1976, Marilyn has provided speech and language services to students in grades preschool through 8, and is considered the foundation of Batavia's special education services. Her commitment to serving students and their families, along with her vast knowledge in speech and language development, has been instrumental in developing the early childhood program at BPS 101. Shortly after coming to BPS 101, she helped develop the early childhood screening process, which is still in place today. She is a pillar of this school community and embodies all of the attributes of an outstanding educator with her vision, integrity, expertise, parent involvement, and genuine concern for children. Horbus earned her bachelor's degree in education, speech correction, and master's degree in speech pathology from Northern Illinois University. She has 2 daughters, Susan and Joanne, who are both Batavia High School graduates. Horbus and her husband Bob reside in Batavia.
To be part of this lovely event and recipient of this very special honor is very amazing to me. As I think back as to how I ever got to this place, I see God's hand in my life every step of the way. I think of the blessing I had of growing up in a home surrounded by books, in a family where education was very important and lifelong learning was continually modeled. And I'm so thankful that I always knew I could go to college, and I know that a lot of people haven't had that opportunity. At Northern Illinois University, during the first week of registration, I happened upon an information session about taking classes in a relatively new field, speech correction. And that was very attractive to me. And though my parents thought there'd never be a job for me there, they required that I could only do it if I had a double major with elementary education. And I saw later how very valuable and exciting that combination would be to me over the years. My husband and I were so blessed with 2 amazing daughters, Susan and Joanne, whose speech and language skills developed very early and easily, that even I didn't fully consider the wonder of communication development for what it is. And I'm so thrilled that these beautiful and talented young women, including my sweet granddaughter Alyssa and my stepdaughter Debbie, came from California and Florida to be with me tonight. As I continued to study various language disorders in depth, my passion grew for trying to contribute in some small way to help families of children with language delays and disorders. Just thinking about not being able to express yourself clearly to others, your desires, your ideas, your frustrations, and your love. In 1976, my husband Bob and I moved to Batavia, and I was blessed in a new journey working for the Batavia Public Schools. God led me to person after person, starting with Peter Levine, who is unable to be here tonight, closely followed by Kathy McLean, both of whom became such special colleagues in those early years and continue as friends. Though I worked as a speech-language therapist in preschool through junior high in the beginning and enjoyed it all, the preschool-age child really became a passionate focus. And it was only together with my colleagues that I was able to work on moving the program forward to meet more needs in better ways. I think back to my ability to be part of the development of the yearly early childhood screening that helped identify those children who could benefit from early intervention. And later I was able to participate in the beginnings of the inclusion program in Batavia, where children with learning needs could successfully participate at their level with their age peers. And to observe them thrive and grow as they learn to communicate, sometimes verbally, sometimes through signs or picture systems, and beginning technology back then, with their classmates in their home schools was so heartwarming to us and to their teachers and their families. and their classmates really stepped up to be leaders and helpers while their own compassion grew. The 30 years flew by, and I knew it was time in 2006 to pass the torch to much younger, very skilled therapists and teachers. And I wish I could name them all, for many of them are here tonight, standing behind you. The opportunity arose to continue on a very part-time basis, working with the families of children who are coming into the early childhood program from birth to 3 programs where their needs have been identified even earlier. Through this position, I'm able to observe the incredible advances that are being made constantly in the early childhood program, far beyond what I ever imagined. This program is truly a jewel, and I'm so proud to be able to continue to be a small part of an amazing team who work with our youngest students. In my retirement, I've been led to more volunteer opportunities, most of which involve young children, in my church and in the community, attempting to pay back in some small way for the many advantages the Lord has blessed me with. There are too many people to thank, from my dear supportive family, my children who probably remember hauling boxes and furniture to help set up the preschool screening in those early years, and were guinea pigs for trials on new speech tests, and who patiently helped prepare materials for my other kids, and my patient husband, who too was enlisted into constructing projects to motivate little ones, and who probably heard me say too many times, I have another report to write. And lastly, I want to say thank you to the Batavia Foundation for all the planning and organization that goes into putting on an event like this, as well as all the wonderful things that they do in support of teachers and new program opportunities in Batavia. And thank you all.
Facebook post real quick. I took a picture. I went running this morning, and I always take a picture of my dirty laundry. So, Lori, you can like it. I'm putting my dirty laundry on Facebook today. There you go. It has become a tradition in Batavia that when a new school building is constructed, a name is carefully chosen to honor those whose dedication and contribution to Batavia Public Schools has been extraordinary. As part of the Hall of Honor, we want to again pay tribute to these outstanding educators, and a permanent plaque to do so has been added to the Hall of Honor display. Alice Otella Gustafson, Eldora Esme Hoover, Rosalie Jones Link, Ellen McWayne, Grace McWayne, John B. Nelson, Sam R. Rotolo, Howard C. Storm, Louise Condi White, William J. Wood, Dominic A. Katera. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Batavia is blessed with volunteers, dedicated educators, and community members who can be counted on to come forward with their time and generous donations. The refreshments we all enjoy from our local restaurants are one example of this dedication, as is the effort put forth by the volunteers of Beth Walker and Julie Johnson, along with the BHS Culinary Arts Program, who have organized tonight's spectacular event. Refreshments, decorations, details, too many to mention. Julie, Beth, and Austin, will you please stand out there? Are you out there? Great work. If you don't see them in here, that probably means they're trying to work on something out there to make the rest of the night even better. It is because of this community involvement that we honor this final category, the Friends of Batavia Public Schools.
Laura Bernabei. The director of children's ministry at the Congregational Church of Batavia, Laura goes above and beyond her job description to serve the city of Batavia. Most recently, she has played a key role in 2 programs, half-day afternoon childcare and Chip In Batavia's gently used prom dress sale. Bernabei has been an active member of the Batavia Bulldog Boosters and Music Buffs for several years and was the parent volunteer liaison for the BHS Color Guard and Winter Guard for 4 years. Bernabei graduated from Valparaiso University with a bachelor's degree in social work. For 12 years after college, she worked in hospitals in Indiana and Southern California as a medical social worker. She and her husband Chuck have lived in Batavia for the last 17 years, and their children Katie, Nick, and Erica all attended Batavia schools.
Thank you all for coming this evening. Congratulations to all of the other honorees tonight. You are all so inspirational to all of us and to all of our students. I'm honored to be here with you. Thank you to the BFEE for this honor and for putting all of these 3 wonderful days together. It's truly a blessing to be included with this. Thanks especially for the trolley ride yesterday. That was a hoot. 17 years ago, Chuck and I moved our family, our children, Katie, Nick, and Erica, from beautiful sunny Southern California to Illinois. We sometimes still wonder about that decision. We loved many things about California, but we were concerned about the schools and that we were so far from our families. Chuck grew up not far from here in the LaSalle, Peru area, and my family is near Buffalo, New York. We didn't know much about Batavia. We didn't know anyone in Batavia, but it seemed like a nice town. It worked geographically, and so we thought we'd give it a try. Like many other Batavia parents, over the years, we helped in the children's classrooms, the school library, book fairs, scouts, church, cheered our kids on in soccer, baseball, softball, dance, football. At one point, though, we considered moving. We decided to look around at surrounding towns, and we came very close to moving. But I had moved around a lot as a child. Chuck grew up in the same town as his parents, and we liked the idea of providing our children with a continuity. Our children were settled in and happy, and we liked Batavia. So we stayed here, and we continue to do all the things that parents do. We've made some great friends throughout the years through school, the sports, church, and then I had the opportunity to work at our church, which brought us even closer to the community. As I've been thinking about the events and activities mentioned in the bio, the things that brought us here tonight, what strikes me is the things that they have in common. They're all programs and ministries that foster community. They aren't solo operations, but they're groups of individuals, organizations, parents, alumni, and even parents of alumni that are working together for Batavia's children. People of various gifts and passions that are wanting to support and nurture our children's interests, abilities, and talents. Without the financial backing of music buffs, our school music programs would never be able to introduce so much music to our students. And the athletic boosters, just thinking about all the different sports programs that they support. These teams and groups, they allow our children new experiences and opportunities. They allow them to explore and develop new interests, help them grow and mature, learn time management, how to work together as a team, and they help them find their place, a place where they will grow and flourish. The half-day program that we introduced last year allows Batavia churches an opportunity to partner with each other and the school district to support families. I just love that part of it. It's such a wonderful blend of community. The real secret to the success of that program, though, is our youth volunteers. We have lots of adults there, but the kids don't want to hang out with us. They want to hang out with the youth. And the prom shop, that's a huge community effort. From the dress donations to the people who organize and display the dresses. They help the girls shop the different dresses, just looking for that perfect dress. Watching the young women leave with a dress and a huge smile and just a little more confidence is just, it's a blessing and it's so much fun. When Joanne called to tell me that I had been nominated for this Hall of Honor, I remember saying something to her like, but I just do what parents do and what so many other parents do. And I know that to be true. The people that are up here with me, the other people that have been nominated and are honored tonight, so many of you and all of you in the audience, and so many Batavians, we get involved and we support these and many of the other student programs and activities. So tonight I want to thank you. Thank you for investing in our students and in our town. Chuck and I are so grateful for the many opportunities and experiences our children have had here in Batavia, and for all of the amazing adults that have taken part in that, from teachers and coaches, friends, church people. Everybody had an impact on our children and helped shape their lives. I would like to thank my children tonight for being such great people, but also for getting involved with activities that we liked and that offered us the opportunity to get involved. To Chuck for always being right there with me, helping me organize everything. And then to my parents for their example. As I was growing up, they were always involved with the school, the community, their church, and always helping other people. As I said earlier, I moved around a lot as a child. And I'd like to share with you that I've now lived in Batavia far longer than anywhere else in my life. Our family has been welcomed into the Batavia community, and we've been blessed and enriched by that. So thank you to all of you for making Batavia our home.
What an amazing blanket patchwork we have. The greatest thing is, it's infinite. It will continue on. We will continue to hear great stories, meet people we didn't know, all that share this common home. If you're a student here, you are part of this blanket. If you're a teacher, an administrator, a parent here, you are part of this blanket. The textures, you give them all life. Who knows who or what we'll be celebrating on this stage or a different stage in 50, 60, 70 years. But you are all a part of that. We hope you continue to support the mission of Batavia Public Schools and stand with us in celebration of all that our 2016 honorees have collectively accomplished, which is a testimony to the success of the Batavia Public Schools. We start accepting nominations for the 2017 Hall of Honor tomorrow. So, we hope you'll stay up late and submit your nomination for 2017. Thank you all. Thank you all. And one more final congratulations to all our honorees. Have a great night. Drive safely.